Good morning, fish keepers. Cam here from thefishroom.co.nz, and we've done it again. We've made it to Friday. Let's be happy with coffee. That is a very good coffee. Oh, I'm going to enjoy that one. So this week we have another guest on with us, and just a quick apology from John. He is not available today. He's unwell and his family's unwell, so it's just me and our guest for today. So without too much more mucking around, we'll bring our guest on. There we go.
Hello.
Kamil, thank you very much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
I'm really glad I can join and I can talk to you.
Cool. So anybody that's watching, if you do have any questions, please feel free to fire them through the chat and we'll try and get to them. If there's something you want to know, we'll try and deal with that as we're going. So first of all, I'd just like to know how you got started in your fish keeping journey and how long you've been doing it for.
Okay, I'm doing it for 8 years and I've started like an engineer would start. I came to the shop, buy an aquarium and started. Just like that.
Yeah. What made you decide to go into the shop? Was there any sort of did something sort of spark your interest prior to that, or you just walking past an aquarium shop and walked in one day kind of thing?
My cousin had an aquarium many years ago, and I saw it and never really looked at it like it was something special, but I remembered it. And when I was trying to bring the nature closer to me, to my home, the aquarium was the first thing that came to my mind.
Cool. Awesome. So for the people that are not really aware, you're quite heavily involved in like biotope aquariums and environmental style aquariums. Can you explain the difference between that sort of aquarium styles or sort of everything in between in that kind of realm?
Okay. First of all, the definitions are still in the shaping. We are all discussing about how we can define the biotope aquarium, how we can define the habitat aquarium. These are all in the process of creating. But how I see it, the biotope aquarium is the aquarium that mimics the only one exact spot in the world, with fish and plants and looks like the only exact spot. The habitat aquarium can habit fishes from different biotopes, but that lives in the same habitats in terms of the plant species, of layout, and so on. So it is the biotopes are the top of difficulty because you have to get everything in order and everything must match each other in the habitat, in the area aquariums, and so on. There are no just that strict rules to create that such as aquariums.
So, like with the biotope, I'm kind of envisioning you just like cut a piece out of a river, put it in your aquarium. This is the exact spot that I'm replicating. Here is my biotope. But with the other one, slightly broader, where things are kind of work really well together, should be together, but not necessarily living together. Is that kind of right?
Yes.
Yeah. So would that also work with, say, the top of a river system to a bottom? Would that be construed as that as opposed to a biotope?
As it goes to a biotope aquarium, it is difficult because the upper river and the lower river can be very different.
Yeah. So that would be an area aquarium. Would that be right?
Yes.
Cool. Right, with you.
But
Awesome. Excellent.
the biotope must be the exact spot from upper river or lower river also.
Yeah, totally. Yep, right. I'm with you. That makes a lot of sense. Excellent. I'm being drawn to your aquarium behind you. It's absolutely catching my eye, and I'm sure it's catching plenty of other people's eyes as well. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you.
Is that a biotype or is that an area?
Right now it is an area aquarium because it was biotope earlier on, but right now I have planted many plants in the above part of the water, and they are not from Brazil, like the fish and the underwater part. So it is an area aquarium, something like this.
Could, for an example, you'd put Raspora and Tetras together in the same sort of scenario. Would that be considered an area aquarium, or would that be slightly different?
It will be more like habitat aquarium because those kind of fish lives in the different part of the world, but in the same looking places.
Yeah, cool. All right, so there's three different types to kind of work with. Awesome.
Yes.
Good morning, Gary, Shirley, and awesome that you've managed to join us, Judy, and good morning, Brian, as well. Okay, so what is it that draws you to this style aquarium, and what is it that really appeals to you and gets you in for that as opposed to some of the other style aquariums that are around the world?
What brings me to biotopes?
Yeah.
The first thing was that I wanted my fish to feel as best as they can in my aquarium.
Nice,
so
cool.
the mimics of nature was the one right way to go. And then I've met Heiko Blecher, and I've started in his contest, and I won it, and was in the final with many people around the world that think like me.
Yep.
And it was like mind blowing, and then the train started to run.
Yeah. So it's all started with the idea of wanting to make sure your fish are as content and comfortable and happy as they could be. Yeah.
Yes,
It's it's quite a brilliant mindset, and I would agree with you. If they're being looked after and you're trying to mimic as much as you can for them, you're going to get the best out of them, and hopefully the best life, best longevity, colors, reproduction, everything that goes with it.
Yes. My Corridoras turbine that are in this tank live for 7 years right now, and they didn't want, they did not want to die.
Yeah, I've seen a few short videos and photos of your aquarium that you've shared on Facebook and bits and pieces you've put on the internet and stuff like that, and it's absolutely breathtaking, the little clips and stuff that I've seen. It's well and truly, it's absolutely gorgeous. So you've done a phenomenal job with that.
Thank you.
Can we talk about like the process of when you're setting up a new aquarium? What goes into it for you? How do you begin that research for it? Like, can you sort of run us through from I've got an idea, or I've got a blank aquarium, all the way through to having it completed? How does that work for you?
Okay, so first of all, many of my tanks I start with the fish I want to keep, and then the fish are the starting point, and then I build the whole aquarium around the fish. So I start to learn where the fish lives, the water parameters. I search in university databases and try to find as many scientific facts about that area that I try to recreate. when there are movies in the internet from that area, that is wow, that is brilliant. I talk to people in the area via internet and so on and so on. I try to get as many ideas, as many I missed the word. As many things as I can, as many informations as I can obtain, and then I've started to plan the aquarium itself. So I search for proper wood, for proper rocks, and so on and so on.
Okay. So when you search for proper wood and proper rocks, I'm assuming if you're doing a biotope, you're looking specifically to get that particular thing. If you're doing an area, are you just trying to get as close as what you can, or are you still trying to be a bit tighter to that for yourself?
I try to be as best as I can always in these things. So the proper wood and the proper rocks are at the top of the list to make the aquarium mimics the nature as much as it can.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously the aquarium behind you has got some plants coming out of the aquarium and growing out. I'm assuming that comes down to that as well. So you've researched this fish that you want, the rocks, the wood, the scape, and then like whatever kind of external elements are around those waterways to try and mimic that on the outside as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the aim. With the above water part, it is quite difficult to mimic the biotope because there are not many plants available to buy in Poland. So I try to do as best as I can, but right now in the tank behind me, the first plants above water are from Asia, and the underwater part is from the Southern America.
Okay. How are you growing those plants above the water? Are they like just sort of suspended so the roots are dangling, or have you got them like growing off some wood that's kind of above the water? Like how is that going? Is there a basket there holding it? Like
so the background of the aquarium is made with rocks and wood, and the plants are attached between the rocks and wood with roots in the water. This is it.
Yeah, so they're just basically mimicking how they would normally grow, attaching around and through, and that and just finding their own way.
Yes.
Excellent, cool. Do you do any fertilization for them, or are they just completely living on the water and what the fish are producing?
With this amount of plants, I need to fertilize the aquarium because fish did not produce that much that is needed.
Is it an aquatic fertilizer you're using, or like a dry salt mixture, or is it something you've sort of established yourself for that?
No, I use a common product that you can buy in the store.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so obviously you've said that the fish come first in your selection. So do you like pick one fish and go, that's the one that I want, and then what other fish live with it, what can be compatible with it, what's not going to be too aggressive, not aggressive, is that, and then so you get a little base of say 3 or 4 fish, then move through. Is that the kind of the process you're running through?
Yes. That's exactly the process. Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so have you got to go to an area that you have created in the wild, or do you do any visits like that, or is this all research you've done via internet and conversations with people?
I would really like to go to South America, but right now I can't not afford it. So all my researches are based on books, internet, and as many scientific facts and scientific works that I can find.
I've spoken to a few people that have set up like biotopes and area type aquariums, and they do a lot of traveling and visiting and snorkeling and recording and stuff like that, and produce their aquariums that way. And you've done a phenomenal job from your work that you've done by not having to do, or not being able to do that just by reading and researching. It's again, that's another way of doing it, and you've done phenomenally well at doing it. So yeah, it's really neat.
It takes very much time, so so the process is long. Yeah. But I like the longer process, the bigger the price is. So
yeah. How long does it take you to sort of research before you decide to go ahead with it, or
it is about
how long?
2 or 3 months, something like this.
Yeah. Is that solid, consistent researching? Not just I'll have a look today and then forget about it for a couple of days. It's pretty solid, intense stuff.
It's pretty solid. 2-3 hours a day of researching and reading and trying to compare the works that I found and so on.
That's the results clearly show for themselves. Have you begun a research on aquariums before, and 2 months down the track, I can't do this, it's just not going to be possible, or have you always managed to work through and get where you needed to go?
Oh, there are many biotopes that I want to create, but I cannot recreate in Poland because I will not have fish or plants. So it is difficult.
Do your plans often change? Like in your mind, this is what I want to do, and as you've begun reading and researching and talking, it just completely goes in a different direction, and what you originally thought is totally different to how you finished creating?
Actually not, because when I pick the fish, I am quite sure that I will not change it, and then nothing can bring me off of the run to recreate a biotope for fish that I picked. So
cool, excellent. We just had a question. So are all of your plants terrestrial plants that are grown in an aquatic environment?
So these are mostly the terrestrial plants. Yes, that grows in wetlands and so on.
Cool. Okay. Is there a particular area in the world that you want to visit so you can recreate it again? Like, is there a few that you really, really aspire to go visiting to do so, or just one or two, or is there some really I need to do this sort of moment or areas?
I would really like go to Pantanal region. Those wetlands are incredible, and to Borneo. Maybe New Zealand, because I was thinking for some fishes for some biotopes. So maybe, but Australia, New Zealand, Borneo, and Pantanal. That would be really cool.
Cool. What draws you to some of those areas? Obviously, you've done a lot of reading, a lot of talking. Is there specific things, specific fish? Visually, like I said, that you like the wetlands. Is there particular reasons that really draw you into those areas?
The wetlands are the most beautiful from the parts of the world. So when you have the higher water level, the life differs 100% from what it is when the water is not there. So
Yeah.
this is astonishing, changing, and very very beautiful fish lives in wetlands and small fish, because I like really small fish.
Mhm.
I really in my tank feel better when there are 20 or 30 specimens of small fish that I have 2 or 3 specimens of bigger fish. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. With your aquariums that you recreate, do you try and mimic like wet seasons and dry seasons and like colder times and warmer times with your temperatures and water levels and that type of stuff as well?
Right now, I don't do this because this takes too much time.
Hmm.
But earlier on in my tank, I was recreating a sun movement, so the light came from the left and right. There was higher water levels, lower water levels. The water changes when there was the storm was coming, and so on and so on. So I was paying attention to very big number of details when recreating aquarium.
Did you find that the fish behavior changed from doing that to not doing that, or have they kind of just stayed pretty similar?
Uh, these changes really changed the fish because for example, the water changes when the storm is coming, so the lower pressure and the water change stimulates fish to breathe. Yeah? We all know, maybe not all know it, but many of us noticed it and know it. So this is one thing, and yes, the different light scheme in the different daytime was really affecting fish, and there was more fights for more male fights for females in the morning, and so on and so on. So there was
So a lot of natural mimicking behavior.
yes, yes, yes.
That's really cool. Uh, Brian has just asked, he's had to mix different types of sand to try and achieve a natural substrate that he wanted, which I think a lot of us down here in New Zealand have probably had to do because we're quite limited. Have you had to do that? Or can you just sort of get natural or very similar bags off the shelf, or how do you approach your substrates?
I mix the different types of sands and try to get as close a look to nature that I can. But I mix different sand types. Yes.
Is there a process that you go through? A little bit of this, a little bit of this gets close, maybe a bit more of this, or is there a
Yes.
bit
Yes.
more? So yeah, so it's not more analytical. I know I need a little bit of twigs, I need some leaves, I need these, and push them at percentages. It's just we're getting close, a bit too much, that type
Yes.
of thing.
Yes. Yes. This is a process in weeks and months and so on. So
Mm-hmm.
my aquariums never look good in the early stage of living. They are looking good in the later stages.
Yeah, yeah. I'm very much visioning a full ecosystem going on within your glass walls, from the bottom of the glass to obviously out of the glass. It just sort of develops through. So when you're mixing your substrates or making them up, do you just have them in a container wet, seeing if that's about right, or have them, your empty aquarium and then set it up, moving it around to where you need it, or is there a slightly different way of doing that?
I make everything in the living aquarium. So I take my hand, I grab it, and I toss it here or here, and so on.
Yeah, okay, cool. Cool. Another question from Helen. So essentially, I can read it out. It's fantastic to hear the process in creating these aquariums. Once one is finished, is it a long-term project to keep it going, or do you kind of have you're done with it and move on?
This aquarium runs for almost 7 years right now, and I full-scape it, but the fish are all the same, and the material is all the same. But I only rescape the hardscape. Yeah, I change the hardscape from time to time, but the aquarium runs on the same filter, same substrate, and for 7 years.
Wow, cool. Do you try and match the water when you're doing water changes to similar to the environments? Or?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
So I'm just guessing here, have an RO system set up and then recreate the water.
Yes.
So what does that process look like for you, and how often do you do that? And what are your triggers for your water changes?
Okay. With that many plants above water part, I really don't need to do water changes often.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to mimic a process of heavy rains in nature, and I do not do water changes for 3 or 4 months, and then I do 4 or 5 big water changes for 3-4 days, and another water change, and so on, and then I pull off the water of the aquarium that everything that plants can't eat, and it works again.
Do you do any water tests to trigger you doing your water changes? Like, is there a specific thing you're looking for, or you just work out it's about the season now to be beginning that process?
Right now, I check only the conductivity of water, and based on it, I created. Earlier on, I've tested water in this tank, but in the long term, this is not the best way to keep this kind of aquarium when you need to grow algae and so on and so on.
Makes sense. So how do you make your water up? So you run it through an RO unit. Then how do you remineralize and revitalize for what it is you're trying to achieve? What parameters are you looking for that particular aquarium?
Right now in this aquarium, this is it has soft water. It's about 6.5 pH. So this is not very acidic, but soft. And I mix the reverse osmosis water with the tap water to get the proper parameters.
Is that the only aquarium that you've got at home running, or have you got other ones?
I've got one more.
Yep.
A smaller one, and it's in the cabinet below the big one.
What's that one's dimensions, and how many liters does that hold?
63 liters, 60 centimeters long, and 30 centimeters wide, and 35 high.
That's only 2 foot long.
Yes.
Really?
This one aquarium?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Oh. So this one is bigger. Yeah. So,
no way. Yeah. Okay.
180 centimeters long.
Yeah, that looks a bit more like
it. Yes. 60 wide and 32 in the height.
Excellent.
About 350 liters.
Yeah, neat. Yeah. I didn't think it looked too far. I was like, oh, that's not surely. Wow, you've done amazing. What hardware is it running? Like, what filtration are you using for it, and heating and all that type of stuff?
I don't use heater in this aquarium.
No. Okay.
I have in my home about 23 degrees, and this is perfect for fish. So
Yeah. Cool.
okay.
Yeah.
And this is it. It runs on 2 filters. In the right side, there is Eheim filter, 2228, if I remember properly.
Yep.
And in the left side of aquarium is Fluval 307.
Okay, cool. And so they're obviously just tucked in behind and all your plants,
Yes,
everything,
yes.
and hardscaper in front of it, hiding it all. Can't see it, sort of thing.
I always hide my equipment that no one can see it.
Yeah, cool. In the winter time, does the water temperature drop dramatically, or is your house warm enough to keep it?
Well,
Relatively.
1 or 2 degrees, so this is
Nothing major.
this is okay.
Yeah, okay, that's really interesting. Cool. Okay, so for those people that don't know a lot about you, you've obviously been involved in some aquascaping or biotoping judging.
Yes.
How many competitions have you been a judge for?
In 2 competitions, in one for many occasions, in the second one for 1 occasion right now, but I think that will be in future too. So I am the judge in Argentina Biotope contest, in the Biotope Aquarium design contest, so the biggest contest.
Cool. How did that come about? The judging side of it.
Judging side is really difficult, but it gives satisfaction in terms of seeing an aquarium and thinking only about one aspect that I must judge. I judge only the the viability of aquarium, so how it can develop in the longer time, and will it work good, and will the fish feel fine, and so on. And I only look at this aquarium in this one way, and it is very satisfying. I don't think about how it looks and so on.
Just it's
Only, yes.
yeah, cool. I'm not trying to start a fight of any description. But what are your thoughts on the really heavily manicured aquascape type aquariums? Your bright, colourful plants. The really, really precise type of aquarium. What are your thoughts on that compared to your aquarium style?
So the best aquascapes are really a work of art, and I look at them with the art filter. So like Josh Sim said lately, that the fish in his aquariums are they must be there for contests and for being an aquarium and homing a fish, but they are not important in any other matter. So like I said, like an art, it is brilliant, but like an aquarium for fish keeping, it is not as good. And what differs that type of tanks that I create with this type of tank, you have a really, really less work to do than with the aquascape, and and this is suits me.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm the same. I can absolutely see beauty and the art and the time and the effort, and I totally get it. But I would far rather sit and look at what you've got behind you than one of them any day of the week, personally. But yes, absolutely, you can see the beauty and the effort and the time that someone's put into it for sure. So, since you've been doing some judging, has that changed your opinion or your mind, or even how you create your own aquariums in that way? Or has it opened or closed your mind or anything like that?
Regarding my aquariums, I really don't care about opinion as much as I was earlier on. So this helped me to open my mind and to use maybe plants from other areas and so on. It opened me to not being as strict biotope aquarist as I was before. So the judging opened me in this area, and this is it.
Okay, cool. Are you allowed to enter competitions that you are judging? Is that a go or a no?
I think that never any judge think about it, and this was a matter that we didn't discuss, and I would not start in competition that I judge. So
yeah, cool. What areas of the world, when you're judging, or regions of areas are specifically coming through more commonly? Is there a real common theme that a lot of people do this sort of region, or is it kind of quite spread out?
it depends, because there are flows in it. Many years was the Rio Negro biotope, and this was many tanks was recreating the Rio Negro biotope, and then the other good biotope came up, and many people was mimic that biotope, and so on and so on. So so it goes like this. But mostly tanks from Asia and South America, and this is the common part.
Do you find that where people live are commonly the designs or aquariums they're doing, or does that not really play a part on it?
Many years ago, when I started in my first contests, many people recreated aquariums from the part of world that they don't live in. And right now there are much more aquarists that recreates the parts that they can find in their own backyard. So this is really nice. This is really nice because this brings the best knowledge as you can find closer to anyone.
Yeah.
So it is beautiful.
Do you think that shift has happened because people are trying to niche down even further in their aquariums, and like I said, this is the way they can get their knowledge, by recreating what they're actually seeing and what they're feeling and what they're around? Do you think that might be why it's niched down a bit more?
This is the one way, but I think that the second way and the bigger drag for it was the possibility to share the nature that they have close.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah. Are you finding there's more and more entrants or entries into these competitions happening, or is the popularity going up or down with this style aquarium?
It is quite stable over the years.
Yeah. Wow. How many entries would you kind of have in one competition?
About 150, something like this.
Yeah. Wow. And I'm assuming that you judge them via photographs and videos and that sort of thing. Yet just this is entry number 1, this is entry number 2, etc., and you go from there. Yeah. Do you get given all the information on aquarium size, what's in it, and all that sort of stuff as well? Yeah. Wow. Cool. I find it quite fascinating that the judging process. Like, people keep aquariums for their own personal enjoyment, and then to go, okay, I'm going to create an aquarium that I want to be someone to judge me on. and try and mimic. It's a fascinating thing. Aquarium keeping, you can keep it as silent as you want because it's in your own house, or again you can just open it up to the world. So I find that aspect really fascinating, that people enter competitions to mimic and stuff and have that judged. Cool. Because that's brought me to the end of all of my questions that I've got written down for you. I like to end all of my Friday coffee meetings with a set of very quick questions. So I've got half a dozen here. They're not meant to stump you. They're nothing scary, and they should be short and sweet. So first of all, if you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Flying.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I like that. If you're tossing a coin, do you call heads or tails?
Heads.
Heads, cool. If you could change anything in the world, what would it be?
Water pollution.
Nice, cool. If you could sit down and have a meal with absolutely anybody, dead or alive, who would that be?
That is difficult. My grandpa.
Cool, nice. Do you think we're alone in the universe?
No.
Cool. And my last one, normally I ask people what their unicorn fish would be that they'd like to keep, but I might open that up slightly to what is a unicorn's biotope that you would like to do that you haven't done yet.
Something from Papua New Guinea.
Nice, cool. Is that for the rainbow fish that are around there?
Probably yes.
Yeah, beautiful rainbow fish around, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Excellent. Cool. Well, that's all we've got. So thank you very much for joining us or joining me. Really appreciate it. I know there's been plenty of people that have taken some great learning, some great knowledge from you that have watched this. So I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much for joining us. It's really appreciated.
Thank you for the invitation and have a good day.
No worries. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one, Tim. Happy fish keeping. Catch you later.
Bye.
Bye.